I told you it was going to happen right when that happened.
And I told you to intro it.
Hello, and welcome to the Comic Slayer and Reid roasting the ice. I'm so bad at this.
And Reid.
Kristen literally looked at me right before we did this and said, "This was your idea. You do it." So here we are.
Anyway, what's up, everybody?
Hi, everybody.
We had also technical difficulties, so
yeah, a little bit.
It's fine now.
Yeah, we're okay.
Well, I assume it's okay.
I mean,
you all just let us know.
I guess tell us, yeah, and see how we do.
I'm not used to not having headphones.
Yeah, you can put them on if you want to feel better about it.
No, I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah. My dad's early tonight.
Oh.
What's up, Dad?
Hi, Larry.
Hey, James.
Trophy.
Cycle. We were gonna be so sad if you weren't here.
We'll see. As I was preparing for this, as I was creating the slideshow, rather, I came across the fact that I know literally nothing.
I may know more than you, then.
You will probably know a lot more than me. But on top of that, I don't, there's
You had hot takes. What happened?
I mean, my biggest hot take, I'm going to go ahead and I'll spoil it.
You're just ruining the whole thing.
I'm just going to go ahead.
Cycle's going to leave. He's
I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for everybody. I have other hot takes. I actually did some research, which was nothing more than a Google search that any of you could have done, but still. My biggest hot take is I don't care.
Okay.
And that's, I don't.
But you want to do a whole show about it?
Yeah, I want to do a whole show about how I don't care.
Got it.
So here we are.
My dad's asking if you're going to be voting.
I will be voting. I have to register to vote.
We'll get with it.
I know.
Rock the vote. Cycle's voting. Hey, Brooke.
Hi, Brooke.
Buddies and pals.
Aww.
What's up? Okay, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they're going back and forth.
Yeah, well, who are you, Jess? Putting all that up in the chat?
I can barely see it from here, so I have to click it to even see it.
Yeah, why don't you zoom in more?
I can't.
You can't zoom in?
No. Shamir doesn't let you do.
See, I don't understand. You can ask Kristen. She yelled at me. Maybe not yelled. She got stern with me.
Can you just
a couple of times in the preparation of the preparation for this show? That okay, never mind.
Well, in Eisner, maybe it's June 7th.
Oh, which one is it?
I have an email yesterday saying it's closing tonight, but the ballot is 7th. Dad, again, we don't need another person voting for Brubaker books.
Hey, good thing there's not any. Take that.
Are you sure? I thought I saw.
Maybe there is. I don't know. Again, that shows you I don't care.
What's up, Chris? Nice to see you. Time to roast.
That's right.
I'm not a roaster. You've never seen me talk about books I don't like?
You're kind of a roaster.
I am, at least when I talk to you about it.
Yeah. Kristen's much more of a roaster off air. Yeah.
That's true.
I'm going to count how many times I look over at her because I got in trouble for that earlier too. You're doing it.
I'll tell everybody what I said if you want.
Yeah, she doesn't. It's hard having conversations like this. I wanna look to Kristen at her when she's talking and when I'm talking. I want to make eye contact and be an engaged individual. And it turns out
you do that in real life too, though.
What, when I look at you?
When you're talking to someone else and I'm standing beside you, you stare at me and answer.
Yeah.
And it's drives me crazy.
I sure do. Sorry about it. I happen to be in love with you.
That's not what it's about.
Yeah, if you didn't know, we're married. We're having a child. All of these things. And so I'm hoping we get some real, unfiltered Kristen pregnancy rants.
Well, let's go. There's no better night for it. The whole listing cycle said.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, it's not great.
Your glasses new.
They're not, but thank you.
I think you can't usually see them as much as maybe you can right now.
That's possible. We're usually not full screen.
It is weird. I don't know how I feel about it.
Kristen like added this extra setup thing we've got.
We got the
Look, we're high end.
Not right now, but soon.
Yeah.
Almost every category is entirely books, artists that shouldn't be there, and I'd rather none of them. I have less strong hatred feelings than that about some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Do you want us to just end it now? Should you go register?
I don't know how to. I'll do it live on air.
Danny, what's up? Thank you for believing in me.
I believe it, Kristen.
Steer her the whole show. We're gonna end it, guys. Brooke says, "Don't you dare look at her." Thank you.
Thanks, Brooke. Brooke, throw that into the chat every so often as the show is happening, and have Kristen put it up just to remind me to not do that.
Yeah, do pass hot takes. What are you looking up?
I'm registering.
Don't do that live.
Register to vote.
Imagine that moment was Reid's love confession to me.
What?
You saying everything you just said.
It tried to autocorrect it to register to vote Eisenhower.
That's not it. A Q stares at her too. It did happen recently. Okay, stop. Put it down.
I'm waiting to see. Please, I can still fill out this form.
Now you're just like all whitewashed and.
Oh my phone is so bright.
Yeah, it is.
You guys are getting.
It's unmasked.
You guys are getting an insight into our personal lives. All right, I'm just gonna leave that open. All right, here we go.
Here for the roast, I don't give my opinions, but I don't really care for art being judged for awards. It's not all the art though. Some of it's the writing, right?
Yeah,
but I hear you.
But art writing is a form of art.
You know what Chris means.
No, I think that's what he means.
Okay. Cycle would vote Eisenhower over most of these nominations. Love that. What is that? Okay.
He's side-eyeing. All right, should we start? Should we begin?
I haven't seen your slides, so I want to.
They're going to be bad. Here we go.
Hold on. We have to preface this because there could be people at some point seeing this. Or if Brooke's still around, you may be like, what is this? Because Brooke is not in this world, in this universe, right? So the Eisners are basically the Oscars for comics. That's how a lot of people like to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Every year the nominations come out. Every year we're rolling our eyes. So we were like, let's go through them and talk about our thoughts and opinions.
Absolutely. And I will say, again, like I said, I don't care a lot. And there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. So some of my roasts and things that I say are actually just look at you. You're just like this more. I like that one. Yeah, that's nice. I don't think that I didn't know about it. I don't think we'll cover up anything. I gotta scoot over and get more in the show here. But they like some of the roasts. I'm fully aware that I don't know anything. So it may just be off the cuff roasting of just like that sounds stupid.
You don't need to preface your thoughts.
I want to because I don't want anyone to think that like I'm not trying to be mean. It's a roast, just so we all know.
Okay,
let's begin.
I haven't seen these, so
we roasting these things up in here.
Nice,
no problem.
Nice subtitle. It looks very corporate already.
Oh no, we are gonna cover that up.
All right, we can move. We're over here now.
Okay. So here are the nominations. The nominations are. So what I decided to do is, so there's like one of that, and then some of them will have a second slide that will give my thoughts and opinions.
Oh. I didn't even get to do that.
After. No, because I just thought this would be funnier. And you feel free to chime in at any point in time, Kristen. Same with chat. We'll try to get caught up as we do this.
I feel like we should have done some stats. Maybe we'll do them on the go.
I did some stats.
Of like publisher specific, you know.
I did a little bit. There's some, the publishers one, it's harder, but I did some. Like, so obviously the most nominations for this year you're going to see, and we can talk about that later, but that's on like the Eisner front page. They talk about all that. Anyway, so best short story, Friendship is Forever by Sam Maggs and Keisha Okafor. This is really actually just going to be you guys hearing me and Kristen mispronounce every name.
You don't need to. Like,
okay, I don't need to do that? Great.
It's the whole thing. You don't need to.
The Kelpie. What's that? I don't know.
I got to know now, so.
The Lady in the Lake by some publisher called Bump. which I didn't know, but I talk about it on the next slide, just giving you a little hint.
Oh.
Comics for Ukraine, Talking to a Hill, that short story. And then World's Finest Part 1 by Tom King. And let's go ahead and go to the next slide here, because you need to know. So Tom King, you know,
I've heard of him.
Tom King.
I've heard of him.
That's me. That's my face. Every time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Every time.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just don't care. I'm just like, I get it. Everyone loves Tom King, but I'm also like, why?
Here's the thing. This is the kind of nonsense this is why you shouldn't be voting, Dad. Okay, I'm just saying.
Well, I agree.
Just saying.
Somewhat agree, but then also it's the fact of like I didn't know anyone other than those two
but let's
either.
go back. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. So we have an IDW book from a major property. Okay,
Mhm.
My Little Pony.
Yeah.
Friendship is forever. Okay, but no, no. The Kelpie, yeah, people love Becky Cloonan. Foregathered on Christmas Eve. I still can't find this.
See, well, that was also the problem I found. Like a lot of these were so hard to just get understandings of what they were. And again, I know this is short stories, so 90% of these are all in some sort of anthology or collection of some sort. But like really, I don't know.
It's a Christmas Eve book.
Just a Christmas Eve book.
That's what it looks like, yeah. Yeah, like Eric Powell has a story in there. Okay.
Neat.
Whatever.
All right. Merry Christmas. Bah humbug.
Dad, Jess isn't here. Why are you talking about him?
He does love Tom King.
Yeah, he does. I mean, whatever, am I right? My Little Pony is a masterpiece. We'll be talking about it 300 years from now as a turning point. I mean, listen, I think My Little Pony has its place, but not here.
I mean, I don't even think that it doesn't. Oh, thank you. Are you just now noticing it?
Also, is that a good or bad thing?
Because I've had it since August of last year, which is sad. But also it's the lighting. You can't really get a good one. Like I can.
Cycle's voting for Becky by default. Cycle, with the voting process, do you have to pick something per category? Just curious how that works. Not enough PPP, that's for sure. I mean, so far, I would guess none.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Top King is a very good Big Two writer.
Yeah, and again, that'll be our biggest criticism, I think, for this is yeah. Honestly, I agree.
I agree.
And that's the hard part with, especially, and I say this later on in a slide, it's like with as many comics publishers we have, as many comics creators we have, as many new people we have writing, creating, drawing, editing, putting together comics, it's the same people over and over and over again. And it's the same reason, and I have the same criticism of the Oscars, or the Grammys, or like all of these, all like the big award things. I have a similar criticism to it. But comics, I think, still feels small enough to where it's like something could happen. We could like try some of these things, like to fix it, or like people just need to branch out. It's easy to do that. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, I agree, because most people, I mean, yeah, we're not going to know everything. There's no way. Which short story will you nominate? I wouldn't pick because I haven't read any of these.
Yeah, that would be the hard part. I would not want to pick. I mean, if I had to pick one.
Well, if you have to vote, I think that kind of just ruins everything, right?
That's
what I was asking about the category.
And then it becomes a popularity contest. It becomes, who have you heard of? Who do you know?
Which makes it all
kind of
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sam Maggs wrote a pretty good Unstoppable Lost prose novel. Cool. That's cool.
Nice for Sam.
What's up? Way to be here.
Way to be. Yeah, you made it.
Can I ask a genuine question? Have you read any of these? Oh no, we will tell you when we have. We haven't read any of these short stories. Here's the thing: I haven't. I'm not interested in the My Little Pony compilation. I don't know that I care about this Christmas Eve anthology, horror anthology. I don't know about Bump, but apparently you're going to tell me about it. So
I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Maybe I do love horror comics. Comics for Ukraine sounds kind of interesting. World's Finest, I definitely won't because I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So, no.
Let's go to the next slide, shall we? Or we got, well, yeah. So the next one, I did my fun little Tom King bit. So in case you were wondering, because I was, what is Zoop? Zoop is a crowdfunding form of publishing house, kinda. I looked at their site and got really confused, honestly. Like, it was like, what do? We do crowdfunding. And I was like, wait, so they're Kickstarter? But then it's like, we're not Kickstarter, we're a publisher. So it's like, from what I gather, and please, somebody out there, correct me if I'm wrong, because I could not fully grasp it. And that could just be me being silly or stupid and not understanding, or it could be legitimately just really convoluted and I don't understand it. But it's like if Kickstarter was also a publisher. So I guess you can crowdfund on it and then they would then keep some ownership of it.
It's its own platform then? They don't just like go to Kickstarter?
No, yeah, it's on
because
there.
I know a lot of small publishers will only publish through Kickstarter.
Sure, and that's fine.
I think it's a viable resource.
I agree. And that's also like, so Bump was it's a self-published anthology, and all they do are anthologies. So they did like a horror anthology, they did another anthology, they did another one on something else.
Which probably makes it easy for them to get nominated in this category because there are not tons and tons of comic anthologies. And to only become a short story, it technically has to be part of one.
There are and there aren't, because there's really more anthologies than you would think. Because I know, like,
well, I know we can name them, but
well, yeah, and like I guess like normies out there may not
know about the Rust Belt Review,
or I think like oh my gosh, what was the one that
why can I drop a name and you can't?
Michael Sweater, and it was a Spilt vs. Sprocket one. It got nominated.
I can only think of Everything Sucks, but that's not an anthology.
No, it was an anthology. It was like the on the back of it. It says like read comics or go to hell, something like that.
Okay.
Good boy.
Wow.
I got it. Don't worry, everybody.
Whew, who's the promo one?
Everybody, I got it.
What's going on?
So,
apparently the Kelpie is a Scottish water monster that drowns kids. Oh, a delightful story then.
Well, that sounds fun. And again, all of these, like sometimes what I genuinely do when the Eisners come out, it's like, okay, what are the things that I probably should read for the rest of the year?
I mean, that's a good part of it. Also, we know you were being sarcastic.
I did not.
No, I assumed. You don't have to vote in every category. Okay, so I wouldn't. That's how this works. Tom King is boring. I like your takes, Danny. I don't have mixed feelings about Tom King. Sometimes just feels like a task to read his comic. Too many words, buddy. Let the art tell the story. Sometimes it's okay. Yeah. I read his Supergirl World of Tomorrow, which I enjoyed, but I mean, half the time I was like, what are we doing here? Well, here's the thing. I would pick up prose if that's what I wanted to read. So I get that.
And that's what and again, this is a huge, somewhat of a hot button topic for things like in comics, the writer's name is always first. And sometimes I feel like they're fighting over that. And that's been the way since Stan Lee and since everything, like that. It's just like that. I feel like sometimes writers are trying to prove themselves as like, oh, I did this. Like, oh, well, let me look at how many words can I fit on this page to then make sure that I'm important. And it's like, really, if you wanted to write a prose novel, you can do it. But guess what? People read like how many more people are going to read? How many people have read a Wonder Woman prose novel versus read a Wonder Woman comic?
Actually, maybe more, because they have those like young adult ones, those juvenile books.
Possibly. And maybe that's just me being naive or not understanding. Buffy's in stuff, so we'll see how this goes. I think she's going to knock a bunch of stuff over because Kristen's letting her.
Why wouldn't I? You're here too. She's just really cute. If your comic is stylistically the same as any book you could throw a rock and hit in a comic shop, it being nominated for an Eisner should be an exception to the rule, not every nomination. I think that we're absolutely, I would think we're both on the same page as that, because it's just like, we're over it.
Told you.
Buffy, what was that?
She knocked over books.
Okay. As you do. It's just all the same and the same and the same, and that's what's annoying. So it is cool to see this random Zoop thing here, I guess. I don't know anything about it, but No, I don't mean which one of these would you have nominated. What is one that isn't there that you would? You've probably read more anthologies with some short stories in them, right?
Maybe, but honestly,
this
this year I've read nothing.
I like them too, but I don't know.
I've read so little this year that it would be hard.
Yeah. Agree, but that should be for any book. I don't know what you mean by that, actually. And I don't know who this guy is, Danny. Sorry.
I don't either.
Becky Clooney's horror shorts are generally very good. Love that for her. I just don't know. Not impressed with Zoop so far. Ordered that Conan book a million years ago. I don't know what you're talking about.
So Zoop did a Conan book. Here, what did highlight cycle?
Which one?
The one where he's talking about Zoop. Okay. But they're listed as a publisher. So I assume that through that they do something, and I guess they have some kind of skin in the game.
Quality Pictures is the best anthology. You're not going to read any of these. You're going to make me read every one.
No, well, yeah, because
you can't just read it in your head and then.
Sorry, that's what I'm doing. I'm writing this one down.
Well, you know Quality Pictures. You have it.
Do I?
There's no ink in this pen.
There's no ink in this pen.
I haven't inked this pen up yet.
Why not? Well, then why is it here? Why is it
because
out?
I plan to ink it. And
why is it out like it's one you're using?
Because I was going to ink it.
Welcome to We Roast the Eisners and subsequently roast ourselves. All right, let's keep.
You have Quality Pictures.
Do I?
Yes. I got it for you.
All right. Well, there we go. I'm going to read that.
Okay. Well, you can write it down because you're not going to remember. I see Patrick Horvath. Next book is on Zoop. I do love Beneath the Trees. So I also didn't know that he was being sarcastic.
Thank you.
I had just assumed. I like Tom King's Batman, Catwoman. Don't think I've read anything else of his. I mean, it's not surprising. You don't read a ton of DC. And I feel like he's done a ton of DC.
Yeah, he's like, what I was gonna do it. What qualifies as a short? Also, maybe the Eisner is giving the nominating people rules on these things, but I couldn't find any. I was wondering about that too. When I was trying to look later, you'll see I make some commentary on a couple of things that I can't get answers on. Like, what are we classifying as a short story? Like, I know the Ignats in past years have been lovingly and hatefully referred to as the Rignats, but they at least do say, here's what a mini comic is. A mini comic refers to certain amounts of print run and page count, blah, blah, blah.
There should be like qualifications and clarifications within these categories that I've not found either.
And if maybe if they had those rules, that would maybe answer some of the questions where later on, like, in the next category, I think I have some questions about certain things. So let's continue.
Taylor Fox Comics was discussing this with me, particularly because regarding Best Continued Series.
I wondered about that too, because that's one that I was kind of confused on. What changes? Well, especially, and we'll get to it, but like, why is Pee Pee Poo Poo considered a limited series? Pee Pee Poo Poo could be going on forever.
I was confused by that too.
So just things like that.
I would definitely nominate Short Story for You One. You know what? I've been wondering if you were going to read that. I keep seeing it, and I'm like, oh, Buffy, that hurt. We got to clip these nails. Does Ice Cream Man count? I would say no, right? Because if we're not talking like one-person anthologies.
Yeah, that's
right? It's various stories from various people.
Yeah, that's...
Or are we? I mean...
Again, there lies in the question of what classifies as an anthology, what classifies as a short story, etc.
The Colossal Conan is a Zoop thing.
Okay.
I like many Tom King books as Cycle. Quality Pictures. I mean, see, you have that.
Oh!
I knew that, Cycle. Don't worry.
That's right.
I'm like, I got that for him.
That's right. Thanks, Cycle.
Okay, Tony's doing a bunch of good stuff. Local Man, Stray Dogs. Now that book, Pharaoh. Oh, yeah. I can't read those. The company was supposed to ship in early spring 2024. No updates until today.
Oh.
You know, basically said they don't know when it's coming. Maybe August. Yeah, that happens. The Rig Nats, yes. Taylor was theorizing that continued series is potentially one that could continue indefinitely. But I, of course, looked into it to refute him, and there are series that are as short as 10 issues.
Well,
nothing makes sense.
Well, and it used to, and also if you look through the history of the Eisners, it used to be referred to as best finite series. That literally used to be it. But then it was like, it could literally be any random run from, then they would like nominate, you know, like an Amazing Spider-Man issues 5 through 12. Like they would do little arcs. It was like best arc, best. So it's just like Eisners have like, if you go through the rabbit hole, because it's kind of interesting to look, and Wikipedia has a lot of it. So whether it's all right, I don't know. But there's the whole list of what awards used to be called, what awards there used to be, which ones went away, and things like that. And it's fairly fascinating.
Hello, William.
Hi, William.
Like top 10 by more and series that are known to have a set end, like All-Star Superman. Planned limited series versus planned ongoing. Which shouldn't even be a part of anything. All right, the next category.
Best single issue or one shot. So these were other ones that I had a hard time with figuring out some things. And on the next slide, you'll get my thoughts about that. But this is a pretty, it's a weird group. I think like on first look, I'm like, this seems odd. Buffy just knocked everything over.
You don't need to call it out. People know.
Oh, do they know? Okay, cool. Next slide, please.
No, I want to comment.
Oh, comment.
This is why you could just give your thoughts, but okay.
It's more fun to write them.
All right. So the first one, I was trying to figure out this book. It turns out the fact that they're calling their studio or whatever Grimm Film, they're clearly creating a work to then turn into film. That was my gathering.
Yes.
Of it. Because they've done that with that, which is weird.
Mm-hmm. A follow-up to that. Literally, you can't buy this comic. You can't read this comic. Also, it's created by, and this is maybe me being ignorant or naive in a way. I don't know. The creator refers to it as a manga. If it's a Western comic or if it's made in America, like what constitutes it as a manga?
Manga is supposed to be Japanese comics. Like
that's what I thought. And so this is like, I want to know, like,
is the creator Japanese?
I believe so.
Well, that matters.
Then that would be, but everything that you find out about this is that last year it won the animated short. It won like the short film festival at San Diego.
It's Malaysian, apparently. Well, the film is Malaysian.
Yeah.
You can find more about the film than the comic.
Exactly. I couldn't find anything about the comic. Not one thing about the comic could I find. And then, And then, Ryan North and Tom Taylor, names I've heard. But sure. Again, if these were one-shots or issues, I would rather them tell me, are they standalone issues? Is that part of it? Is it like... Yeah, also... I agree with you. Cycle. I'm kind of like, I wish they would even just specify, like, is this a one shot or is it a single issue? Because obviously Nightwing number 105 is just some random issue in a run. Is it a standalone? Because then I don't know if that can be categorized or judged on the same level as something that you could just pick up.
You don't need to see me. It doesn't matter, but okay.
All right.
My dad complaining over here.
Right. Next slide, and we can get my.
Don't next slide me. You're talking so much.
I am.
We're gonna have disputes on air.
Oh, yep.
Okay, Superman, get out of here. I don't care. Superman should not be involved in any of these. I'm just saying. Let's ban Superman from this whole thing. You got one rando publisher that just makes comics into films. If that's not the case, someone correct this. Whatever. That's what it seems like. Two DC books. Why? And of course there's an Image book in here because of course there is. And I don't care about it. I looked it up. I don't care about it.
I was going to say, if you were to go to the next slide, you'd hear me give the pitch of the book.
Can you just let me talk? And yes, Star Trek, why are you here? Okay. Apparently, I'm not allowed to give opinions, but let's go to his opinions on the next slide. Did you already say most of it? I'm not going to read your thoughts.
I didn't love that the Superman annual only had others when it's like this one dude wrote an issue and had like 3 other artists work on it and they didn't want to give them credit.
That's pretty silly because it's like 3 more names.
And Sweet Paprika, literally the tagline, a hilarious urban fairy tale about sexual emancipation. Yeah,
listen, it looks bad.
Yeah, interested? Because
I looked up the covers and I was like,
I also, yeah, the cover.
Someone's gonna come and be like, it's my favorite. Hey, that's great.
And hey, you do you. But like.
But I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, your summer vacation. There's Eisner.
Well, thank you very much. That will never happen.
But thanks, William.
I do appreciate that a lot.
Also, Superman blows apart that theory, winning Best Continuing Series as a planned limited series doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of every single comic that came out last year, Star Trek Dayblood is top 5 according to the Eisners. I mean, it doesn't make sense, especially when you think about how much typically licensed property books are not the best. And I have tons.
Yeah, and it's
not the best.
Yeah, and I always wonder that.
Sweet paprika is more bland than the spice itself. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Spice talk.
Yeah, not sweet paprika. If it was called smoked paprika, honestly, that would be a better title. Just saying.
They wouldn't do that.
Next slide.
If you're in a next slide,
I just wanted to do it because I thought it would be funny.
It's not.
So.
Oh, look, all DC and an image book. What are we doing here?
Exactly.
And the image book is a licensed property.
Exactly.
Bye.
What is going on? Guess what? Don't care. Tom King, Tom Taylor, too many Toms.
Look, I love some Kelly Thompson, but stop. I don't care.
Yeah, I get it.
I like Mark Waid and Dan Mora. Shazam out of here. I'm not interested. We love Daniel Warren Johnson. No, thank you. Transformers. Also, that just came out.
Yeah.
Where's the time frame for these?
Well,
I'm confused.
And it's apparently going to continue.
Oh yeah, maybe when the singles were coming out, they were talking.
Well, yeah, and look, Wonder Woman also continuing because it'll never end.
That's true.
I don't get it. We have Tom Taylor, Tom King, Kelly Thompson, too much Toms, and then Mark Waid.
Look, 4 DC books and an image book. Eisner's, what's happening?
Are we supposed to believe that nothing Marvel did was good enough?
I'm not going to complain about Marvel not being on.
I know, I'm not either. Like, I just want to point that out also. It's, I don't.
For Best Single Issue, I would have nominated Flippy by Nate Garcia.
Yeah.
They never will they?
No.
Best Continuing Series I nominated The Devil's Grin.
I will agree with that.
That's the thing, like, these could be, like, really cool to, like, highlight these smaller books, get the word out there for, like, great creators, but, like, it's clearly never going to be that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this category makes no sense. Wonder Woman have been good. Okay. Does it deserve an Eisner, James?
Hasn't been that good.
Is it that good, James? Just saying. See, I didn't know you were going to keep the thing up because that's what's annoying about your commentary so far.
No, that's what they've all been.
No.
Well, not all. Some of them are super long.
Yeah,
so
the Judge Judy situation.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, Birds of Prey. Meh. Fine. Whatever. Kelly Tom.
Danny. I don't care if it sold a ton of books. That's not the point.
Well, yeah.
Of course it did.
It's
Transformers.
And then again,
it's Daniel Warren Johnson.
That makes me think, is that part of it? Like,
that shouldn't
be.
Yeah.
We're not saying most sold.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. Thanks, James, for your honesty.
And then
I'm not even saying these aren't good comics. Sure. It's just not the point.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
We're bored. That's fair.
I'm bored with this entire category.
Yeah, number of books sold means nothing. Eisner's are clearly does. I mean, I guess so. Best limited series. See, this is confusing too, because you got the Cole, which I've read, and when I read it, I got an arc of it. Didn't say volume 1, so the ending made me mad because I was like, if there's no volume 2, what am I doing, right? But I did enjoy what I read. Not to Eisner's point, 1, not to that point, but 2. Okay, so how limited is it? Because I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say, when you had that show with Jess and he pulled out the physical copy, and on the spine it did have a 1. It had a volume 1. So is it limited?
No, yeah, I said that it was updated.
Oh, okay. So I don't.
When it came out, it said volume 1.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But now it's mailed to limited series. I'm confused. The Cole looks horrible. I enjoyed it, but yeah, the art is boring. That's accurate. It goes with the story, but it's boring. It is part of it. It's naive to think it's not part of it. Also, Daniel Warren Johnson kicks ass. Yeah, we love Daniel Warren Johnson.
I agree. Yeah.
But I don't think it's naive to think it's not part of it. Like, I'm saying it should not be. I mean, this is not like we could pull up sales charts for you if you'd like, you know.
Well, no, and I think, and that's the thing. It's like I don't think the Eisners doesn't boast as like you're literally sitting there saying this is the best limited series of comics that was published. This was the best. It's not saying like I know that's always going to play a part in it, but when you go to the Oscars or you look at any other things, if it doesn't hit a certain amount of money grossing or something like that, it's not even on people's radar. And that's, I think, the challenge is that I don't think the Eisners does a great job of trying to expand anybody's readership or anything and highlight things that are out there. I don't think that happens enough.
If they have a plan, find a number, then it's limited. Okay, but what is that? Because I look at the Cole, for instance. And to my knowledge, again, just volume 1, like what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are the numbers? I've looked this up, and at least when I looked it up, I couldn't find out how long this was supposed to be. So there we go. Also, I will say Image in particular is notorious for putting out books and saying volume 1 the spine when there never be volume 2.
Mm-hmm.
That happened in one of Kyle's books. I was like, hey, why does this say volume 1 on assassination? And he was like, I don't know. There was never going to be a volume 2. So you can have boring art in the top 5 limited series of the year. You can at the Eisners. Superman Lost is giving Pacino an Oscar for maybe even Priest. Okay, already. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm just assuming. That's kind of what this whole thing is, though, right?
Yeah, that's all worried. Yeah.
Kill Your Darlings top 5 limited series. Nope. Here's the thing. Obviously, we haven't talked about the one thing that we do think deserves to be on here.
Yeah, I think I may. Yeah.
Wow,
you need to take.
I know. Could you give me a second?
Yes, ma'am. Nicole, Kristen had thoughts because she's read it.
Well, you didn't tell me there were. I didn't know you were going to commentate on each one.
That's what I'm trying to do. I tried really hard to do this, and then I got busy. I did this while I was at work, and then things got busier.
Don't tell people that. Your boss is watching.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Anyway, yeah, Godzilla, don't care. Kill Your Darlings. That sounds mean. Pee pee poo poo. Yes, finally something. Dear God, let this win. And truthfully, it would be the first Silver Sprocket to win unless you count Sports is Hell. Is it Sports is Hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Koyama Press, so not quite the same. And I believe I'm right with that because I don't think Good Boy won, but it was nominated last year or 2 years ago, whichever it was. But I just want to hear the words pee pee poo poo said, like
at the ceremony.
Yeah, exactly. And like I don't care.
It's just cool to see, and it shouldn't be so rare like that, but it's cool to see.
And of course, this is,
and also, yeah, how limited is it?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We don't know.
When is it ending?
And then the other one, again, I don't know how limited this is in ways, but also what I did, no nomination for personal friend Kyle Starks is criminal in this, considering the one DC book that's not going to get a nomination.
Yeah.
Truthfully, is like
Peacemaker Tries Hard.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Fantastic.
And here's the thing. It was great in a sense that it really did, and I'm going to say it, and I don't know if Kyle would like it even that I say it, but it reads like not a DC book.
Well, yeah, I was going to say.
And there's good DC books that I've read. And this was one of them. However, it just has that charm of like Kyle stuff. So
exactly. It remained a Kyle Starks book while still being within a DC set of characters, property and stuff. Because that's what we talk about the greats. Like everyone wants to talk about how great, like when Frank Miller would do Big Two stuff and all that, he would make the characters his own and turn them into something different. And it's like Kyle's able to still do that. And it just feels really like I feel like he got robbed big time.
Yeah, or when they put a volume 1 on books, they canceled before the trade came out. That's just it's rude, is what that is, Chris. Yeah. I agree. Cycle says the amazing part of Pee Pee Poo Poo is I'd nominate it for sure, but if everything I thought should be nominated was, then I wouldn't vote for it. That's fair.
Sure. Well, and also it's like I was trying to think. Only one issue of Pee Pee Poo Poo came out during this period, so it's like it feels weird that it's in this category on top of it. It just and this. I just don't understand it. Maybe we need someone to. So hey, the Eisners. Shoot me an email, readwired@gmail.com, and please.
Someone's gonna make a fake email now.
Come on the show.
Comment on.
Come on! I want you to come on the show and explain to us what all of this is.
Cycle wants to know what the relationship is between Koyama Press and Silver Sprocket.
I believe they, like...
I wondered when you said that, too.
I thought they did... Or maybe I'm thinking specifically in this case, Silver Sprocket... Didn't Silver Sprocket republish it?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Silver Sprocket reprinted it. And Koyama Press went... And I think when Koyama Press went, not under, but they quit, they, called it quits, I believe some of the Silver Sprocket stuff picked it up. That's what I thought I understood it. And again, I could be wrong, but I do remember if you talk about Koyama Press or when I searched stuff for About Sports as Hell and things like that, Silver Sprocket comes up. And maybe they just distro it, but I could be wrong.
My dad says I like Frank Thierry and I love Godzilla's My Image. It doesn't make it Eisner worthy though. Dad, as you look through these categories, which one would you even vote for? If you're not just gonna click stuff that people on. Because thus far, I don't know that I've seen anything. I mean, you haven't commented on anything that you've read. I'm just asking as someone who wants to vote in it.
Well, yeah, and even
you want to vote.
I don't even know. I wouldn't even feel right voting in this category. I would want to vote for Pee Pee Poo Poo in this category, but also I'm like,
yeah, I've read 2 of the 5, and I'm like, I think that's still worthy of a nom, just because it's so unlikely it's going to get more votes necessarily, right? But,
yeah.
I get what you mean.
But also Pee Pee Poo Poo is understood to be a one-woman anthology. That's literally how it's pitched. So I'm like, why isn't it an anthology?
I mean, I have a baseline of interest in almost any Godzilla book. None of the DC books on this list here, or even what I think were the best of 2023, which is even crazier. My dad wants everyone to vote for the stream with a thumbs up.
Oh, thanks, Larry.
He's a YouTuber. Didn't 2 Pee Pee Poo Poos come out in 2023?
Maybe they did. I don't. I was thinking that was the year before that, but I'm probably wrong. You're probably right. Cycle /Harvey /
Reid is right. Silver Sprocket listing says Sports was originally published by Koyama. Good job, Reid.
All right. Wait. Go back again. Read that first sentence again.
I'm good.
Oh.
On a side note, Annie Koyama is my hero, according to Cycle. So yeah, thank you, Chris. Yeah, there we go. You did it right, Reid.
I did.
Nice. I don't think I could vote for anything I haven't read. I just figured there might be something in here I read or could read in time. Did you even look at that? I'm really curious. Did you look at the categories or are you just finding out? Let me know when you would vote for something, Dad. I want to know.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if one Pee Pee Poo Poo was actually republished in 2023, but 420 and 69 both said copyright for 2023.
Yeah, maybe I just read both of it. I get, and again, I'm so bad at reading stuff, and especially right now, as we all know, I'm not up on reading things. So
I get that. Speaking of things I've read another one in this category.
Yeah, you've read one, right?
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
Which is Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. Yes, it's IDW, but yes, it's great. It's one of my favorite things I've read this year.
Mm-hmm.
So this is exciting to see. I'm like, yay, I do think it deserves it, in my opinion, and that's cool. But then we're like, look at this image book. And I don't know anything about this pub. Did you look that up?
I started to.
Oh, wait. You probably have commentary, right? Let's go.
It was just really straightforward. I was like, I feel like with as many new publishers and more comics than ever, we shouldn't have just a bunch of image. And again, like I know Distillery is something new maybe, but I started to look it up and then got bored.
Creators own their stuff through it. That's all I'm reading, really. Creator owned, limited editions, digitally different, apparently.
Oh.
Are they? Oh, Becky Cloonan is a founding creator, as well as Jock and Joelle Jones, some other big names.
Yeah.
Jamie McKelvey.
I think maybe I read something about that. It was similar to like a TKO
I was going
thingy.
to say, this sounds like a TKO thing where I'm just kind of like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's...
All right.
And again, like, we love Jeff Lemire in this house.
Yeah, but no.
Neat that you got one. But also, I'm like, Jeff Lemire, I feel like you were doing the best. Jeff Lemire, truthfully, feel like you do absolutely your best work when you are writing and drawing. Because you're fully writing everything when you do it that way. 2, how does something not suffer a little bit when you do like 9 books a month? I'm just curious. Honestly, I don't know how that happens. So.
Yeah. My dad hasn't looked at it till now. He just blindly registered to vote, and he didn't know the candidates. What are you doing, Dad? Reid Chancellor, I also thought one Pee Pee Poo Poo was published in 2022. Yeah, no, I'm confused on the timeline too.
And also, I mean, here's the thing. I'm fabulously okay with being wrong about everything and anything in this. So please, like,
yeah, we're here for discussion.
Yeah, no, exactly. I want you guys to, we want everyone to agree or disagree or have the discussion. Yeah, good.
I read almost everything. You don't need to tell me. Go ahead. I got it. Read almost everything other than Somna. Yeah, I haven't read anything from that publisher. And Beneath the Trees is the best for sure. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I will read Phantom Road at some point. I will not buy it, but I will read it via Hoopla. And I don't know anything about this Kelly Thompson book, but I am interested in her generally, so maybe. But, you know, I don't care about local, man. I know you'll be getting that. Good job. Although, you know it's a trade.
But it's a new series. It's not limited.
Yeah, nothing makes sense. Yay for Beneath the Trees. And hello, Marissa. Good to see you.
Hi, Marissa.
There have been historically image books that I would nominate for this category. Sure. But there's 3 on this list, and I'm annoyed.
Well, it's the same, like, and I get into it a little bit, that it's like with these sections, and this, I came across some of this stuff when I was trying to do some research that I promise I actually did. Later, it's way easier when you look at like the writers and stuff to pull up stats, but
you gotta stop though.
Okay.
He's moving my chair.
I'm moving her chair around when I do
You
this.
gotta stop. You didn't. What are you doing?
I was just trying to be sweet. But like, I lost my thought. No, I'm done.
Okay. I mean, Image is releasing the best stuff for a while. It is what it is. I deeply disagree, but I'm happy for you. I would not say, in my reading, it's the best stuff. I like a lot of Image books, but I wish there was an indie award too, like a real indie one. Okay, but
see, and again,
they do that wrong too.
Well, and that's again, like that's what the Ignats are, and then the Ignats awards in previous years, as mentioned before, and Cycle said in the chat, along with me, the Rignats, because it was a bunch of first second books, which again, I get it. First second can publish a lot of great stuff. We are huge supporters of first second in this house, especially, but they're distributed and like owned by Macmillan, one of the largest publishing houses in the world. Like, why?
Totally. Yeah, we read stuff from big publishers and big imprints, I guess.
And that's the other side of it. It's like and again, it's just because comics publishing is so weird. And I know this a little bit because the publisher that I do my work with is not traditionally a comics publisher. So like when I talk with them about publishing plans or like certain like the publishing world and certain things like that, they're coming from a completely different world. And it's really interesting. They understand how comics work because books have to go through Diamond or etc. And they don't really have to anymore, but you know, all that world. But it's so weird that in comics we're like, publishers kind of like rule the roost as far as like owning the things, you know. I mean, we talk about I lost it. I'm bad at this, guys. I'm really sorry.
Well, and I think, you know, I think about I'm bringing my dad back into this. I think about him having what he calls the creator-owned section of his library, where you think about an Image Skybound book that's not creator-owned, and that's where it's going to go, right, Dad? Like, so that's still not a great distinction because not everyone who even publishes stuff through Image owns their stuff anymore. That's just not how it works now.
Well, I would just say, why? That's the only comics is the only world that creator-owned is even a phrase.
Yeah, and well, I think about your book too. Like, you know, because again, I think about my dad's video with his shelf ship. Check it out. But
nice plug.
Yeah, but like where he's like creator owned because like anybody could take this book and bring it somewhere else. Well, I think about Hardcore Anxiety. You have you're under a contract. You can't just take your book and put it somewhere else. They own parts of that book. He doesn't own that book.
Yeah, they own it for
a certain amount of time until they don't. And that's usually how a lot of this works. So like that's still not a distinction that's made at this point, right? Like anyway.
And it's again, it's just a wild world.
I assume it's distillery, right? I guess is like a by creators for creators publisher, but strikes me as a boutique publisher more than a new Image and more for gimmick marketing hype. I absolutely agree, and that's how I felt about like TKO. I like some TKO books too, but it felt very similar, even just looking at the website just now. So I agree. I won't be voting for any of these cycle. I love Beneath the Trees. I don't know if you'd like it, but
I mean, I think it's cool. I've not read Beneath the Trees, but I've seen it.
I want you to read it, actually.
I want to read it. I think that that's a book that, like, me personally, I love seeing books that look different. Like, legitimately.
Like, here's some different art.
Yeah, here's a book.
Here's a story you haven't seen at least in a while, right?
Like, well, I mean, like, and I've talked about my origin story with comics with you specifically. That, like, for years I didn't think that comics could look anything other than like comics looked like Bone, Jonan Vasquez, or Marvel House style. It's it. It's all I thought comics were. I thought that like other stuff. Jeff Lemire blew my mind, and so did like Blankets by Craig Thompson. Like all these ones that look different. And I think it's cool to see when books like that are getting, are getting recognition or at least any sort of notoriety. Yeah,
absolutely. My dad said, why not take a shot at the registration? They will likely say no anyway. If they say yes, I will read some stuff. Will you? Will you buy some trades?
I mean, sure. Go.
Will you buy Pee Pee Poo Poo, Dad? What's going on? I'm just really curious.
Larry, you don't need to buy Pee Pee Poo Poo. I can lend you my copy.
Yeah, but then if he likes it, he has to buy it. That's how it works.
Yep. And then we get Larry buying Pee Pee Poo Poo.
I don't think he's going to like it. I wish we could have a deluxe edition of Beneath, but I'm not sure IDW would do it even if it's the most hyped series from the mid-decade. I agree. I think about My Pregnancy Brain's Back. The book with the little tin guy that I love.
The Wizard of Oz?
No. I can see him.
as I John Krasinski to the camera.
Come on, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't.
Someone's screaming it.
With the tin guy? Oh, I love she searched the Tin Man.
It didn't work.
She searched.
What's his name?
She searched.
You know what I'm talking about.
No.
Okay, Dad, I gave those books to Mom. Help me. Anyway, that was like
Twig?
that's Image. Anyway, that's the last one I think about. That was so hyped. It had several trades. It was it was off the shelves. It had 1 million printings, and they never did a hardcover. So yeah, I'm gonna highly doubt it.
I mean, IDW's weird when I think about stuff that's not licensed or like not an IP. Like, what's the last IDW book?
Kanto. Thank you, Chris. And everyone else who said it. You know Kanto.
Yeah, Kanto.
All
Drew
right.
Zucker. Yeah. The tin guy.
The tin guy.
The little tin guy.
Were you done? Did you lose it again?
I'm done.
Of course.
We're never going to do this again, everybody. I hope you realize.
Maybe people are enjoying our banter.
I hope so.
We're not actually fighting. We just talk like this.
I hope.
Black Cloak is a creator owned but published by Image. Have you read that, Chris? I'm curious about it. I can definitely see why lots of people think Image is releasing the best stuff. I agree from the perspective of if you're just in the realm of like, maybe you're a Wednesday warrior, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to the comic shops and you got your subscriptions to all your favorite Marvel books, your favorite DC, whatever, like, and that's where you're going and that's what you see. So you see Image stuff, and that's the stuff that looks different than what you're used to seeing. Then I get that. Yeah. And I'm not saying they're not publishing some good stuff. Mm-hmm. Absolutely they are. But they're saturating this, and I don't appreciate it.
Yeah. And also I would like to say that like
and they're the big three now. So
well, yeah, and it's hard because like DC Comics is a genre now. Marvel Comics is a genre. Image Comics is borderline becoming a genre, and that's what's hard. It's like when you talk about these things, like because Image isn't, they don't want superhero stuff yet. It was founded on literally all of those superhero comics creators literally going over to make their own superhero series again. Like it's just, I don't know. And I'm not saying last year, maybe the year before, Image put out one of my favorite books I've read in the past 5 years. They put out Zoe Thorogood's "It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth." Like, so
yeah,
huge supporter of Image,
of course,
in a lot of ways. Like I mean,
all of my like favorite Lemire stuff is probably through Image.
Exactly. You know, so it's like I understand why Image has a fantastic track record, but it's also like Image is founded on the fact that like we want to make all sorts of different books, which means you also get some stinkers in there.
Cycle says best new series. I definitely nominate here. You Will Own Nothing and Be Happy by Simon Hansen.
I've not read it, but heard good things.
Oh, here's my dad trying to tell me the definition of indie.
We don't even need to.
Indie is just a loose term. No, it's a term. If it's creator owned, then it's independently created. Again, Reid doesn't own his book.
Independently created means different things because technically, so every Marvel character was independently created at some point in certain ways. I mean, Walking Dead was not independently created if you view it that multiple people created it. So, and again, it's...
I have Birthright and the company owned other section. And why is that? I'm curious. It's an Image book. So why is it different? Also War Epic. I got Reid War Epic for Christmas because I thought it looked really good and that you would like it. You haven't read it yet, though.
I haven't read it. It's probably in a box somewhere because almost everything I got for Christmas I boxed up because I thought we were moving. We didn't move.
Yeah, we'll have to get some of that out. It's Skybound, but not written by Kirkman. Okay, Birthright. I didn't know it was Skybound. Gotcha. I don't know what that is.
I think he's He was correcting himself.
Oh, I see. That's his last name. Got it. By now, if it's not Marvel or DC, it's creator on haha. I mean, exactly. That's what people act like. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Skybound disgusts me. I've heard that from people.
Skybound disturbs me as far as I just don't get it. I just don't.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. It's just one of those things. And again, that could be a whole other 2-hour discussion, I'm sure, if we actually spoke to the right people.
Yeah. Beneath the Trees is the only one so far that I have read. You didn't even like it, Chris, so you wouldn't vote for it. Check it. Basically, only voted for Caroline Cash and Bill Griffith.
I mean, yeah, and we'll get into that, which I think is interesting. There's plenty of other stuff.
If only there was, and I guess, hey, it's apparently a limited series. So it depends on how many.
Honestly, like, what I keep hoping and waiting for is they're just going to put out like an artist edition version of it, because it'll be like grass cutter, because Caroline does everything on the page. So like it's all hand lettered, and it's probably not even that big. She probably draws at like 8.5 by 11 or 9 by 12. So it'd be super cheap. It'd be awesome.
And Kanto desperately needs a hardcover, as the trade paperback quality was awful and fell apart. Yeah, they're not going to do that though. I mean, it's been too long. The hype's done. It's not going to happen.
I think they're doing another thing.
Are they?
I thought they were going to do another Kanto story.
There's been like 3 or 4.
Other ones? Other stories? Oh, okay. Never mind them. I don't know.
That's exactly what I mean, but didn't want to say. I don't even remember what I said at that point. What did I say?
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
I feel like I would have come across more condescending. Ooh, now I need to know what I said. Sorry, I'm totally pulling a Jess, and I don't know what you're talking about now. Oh, my dad's trying to fight you.
Kinda. It's turning into a genre.
Obviously, he doesn't mean it's actually a genre.
Yeah,
he's saying it's become like a genre.
I'm meaning it in the similar way that when we always have this discussion about independent comics, we talk about independent music or indie rock. Indie rock is a genre. It used to be a definition. It's now a genre. In the same way that indie comics is now no longer a definition, and it's becoming a genre. It's a gray area that's hard to define. That's what I'm referring to.
Okay, thank you, Cycle, for clarifying exactly what I mean, but didn't want to say was referring to why people would think Image has been putting out the best comics for a while. Got it. I'm glad we're on the same page then. Okay, Cycle says I wouldn't say genre, but it's almost like Image has a house style as much as either of the big two does. And if any of them, anything that is outside the style is the exception to the rule. I agree with that. From what I've read, especially, I think about, I even think about how, and I don't know any insider information to this, and maybe I shouldn't even bring it up, but I think about like Sex Castle and some of the older stuff that Kyle did the art for that they've published does feel like the exception to rule when I see like, I hate this place, which I love. But it's not Kyle's art, and I feel like Kyle's art is over here from a regular like Image style or like Marvel style. Maybe I need to stop bringing up Kyle, but I say that in a good way. I'm like, no,
I agree with you. And well, even the same way that like you could have the same conversation with people who break the mold as like, what's the highest rated DC book of the past 50 years or whatever. Most people are going to probably eventually, I mean, you're going to get to Dark Knight Returns, which completely breaks the house style. And I understand why the house style is a thing. I understand why it was created. I understand why they wanted to put that image forward, because it was then that's how you establish a brand. How do you know it's a Marvel comic? You can tell by the look. You can tell by Jack Kirby's art. You can tell by these staples. I get why that's important in building something up. But then you also need to break that. We can't, if you don't break some of that, then everything becomes autopilot, monotonous, and then it's just like boring. And again, that's where we're at when we're like, I'm bored by these nominations. And that's what I mean.
The problem is so many people write about comics who don't know what they're talking about. So if you Google independent comics, you get the wrong idea. Yeah. Or, some people put up YouTube videos where they say, hey,
Kristen, do something for me.
not say it.
Well, that. But then I was going to say, go over there, Google search independent comics, and let's see what comes up.
Let's see here. Indie comics and graphic novels. Can someone recommend to me some indie comics? Let's go to this.
Oh no, we don't need to go to that Reddit. That's
you want to go to Reddit?
That
Okay.
We'll do a whole episode.
Here's the CDR article, Best Indie Comics currently in print, and it starts off from Skybound's blah blah blah. Guys.
Exactly, and again, and I'm not even trying to dog on people who don't know, because obviously, if you didn't know anything about independent comics, and truthfully, we and Kristen make this joke a lot. There is a guy that I sat next to at a convention who's very nice, and we talked a lot. But his pitch every time, like when you table at conventions, you have a pitch, so you have something to say when someone walks up to your table. And I'm always just like, hey, how's it going? Feel free to flip through anything. I got blah 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 blah. You like punk rock? Blah blah beep boop bop bop. You have something. The guy next to me, every time when someone wanted, he would just go, do you read indie comics? And that was it. And it was one of those things to where you just be like, that's all you.
That's the pitch, yeah.
He's like, do you read indie comics? And it's like, and then people.
That was every time.
And of course, my favorite is when like, poor guy, because some people are just like, no, and then just keep going, which you get all the time. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, hey man, I like your cool Ramones shirt or something, and they're just like, please stop talking to me, and they leave.
Sure.
But
I have to point out some other things that came up for the search though. A Goodreads list, best independent comics and graphic novels. The top 3 on here are Scott Pilgrim, Saga, and Bone. Indie Comics Zone. This one has a Conan book for some reason. People are just confused.
And again, it comes down to no one knows the definition, and it's become to where, like we said, if it's not Marvel or DC.
This one says 12 indie comic books publishers the title doesn't even make sense, but looking for comics outside of Marvel and DC, check out our guide to some of the best indie comic publishers.
And that's what they're going to be.
And they're going to say Image, aren't they? I got to bring it up now. Hold on.
Fantagraphics, which also, like,
Dynamite? No.
Yeah.
Get out of here with Dynamite. Come on. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right.
Oh boy.
Okay. I've literally been blocked from whole channels for just slightly pushing back at Image being an independent publisher. You gotta love that, huh?
Honestly, Cycle, you'll never be blocked from this channel.
No, this is what it's about. If you even think about an Image book and then think of a Dark Horse book, for instance, I feel like there's a distinct type of comic that you visualize. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. I should clarify the YouTube channel some might think I'm referring to being blocked by isn't the one you might be thinking of. Okay. Cycle message me later.
Yeah.
There's ones where I've made like a couple of comments and it was cool. And then I say some slight pushback correcting the indies thing and it blocked. It's wild. Please define indie comic.
See, no, I agree with Larry.
There's another. Hold on. Back in my day, most things that managed to get published, certainly before 1980, that were not DC, Marvel, Charlton, or Dell, were creator-owned and often creator-published underground.
No, I understand that, Larry. Like, completely.
And there is an underground scene now.
Yeah, we're back.
not going to see any of that on this list.
Yeah, we're back to it. And again, I know, and the Eisners is not where you go to look for that. But what I want to say is, how great would it be if it was? like, and I get, like, there's no we can't define it. Because we just can't. It's not. We
can, but, Cycle makes a point. It's not even just indie comics, just the idea of independent in general. It refers to the publishing distribution primarily. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's true. And that's also the same way. And I always bring up the conversation back to music because it's the same thing. And there's the discussion of independent music, independent creators, independent books, independent all of these things. But it's like, it's so confusing.
I guess maybe there are more big comics publishers now for some reason. There totally are.
I think what happened is it used to be big too, and then Image has gotten so big. IDW is so big, Dark Horse is so big, Oni Press is so big. Like everyone else elevated to the same, I guess, level of notoriety, level of popularity, level of.
You put Boom up there. You put, I mean, anything. I feel like the it's not even just the average, like it's not the average comic reader either. Well, maybe if you walk into like a comic shop every Wednesday, you're going to notice titles from these publishers. And there are smaller ones. See, like is a comic published by Scholastic an indie comic? Absolutely not. I would say absolutely not.
No, and I completely agree with you. And again, that's what makes it hard, because when I think of the golden boy of indie comics in a lot of ways is Jeff Smith, but he's not anymore. But he's still doing stuff on his own. But Bone is not an indie comic anymore. But Jeff Smith creates indie comics.
Well, but I think about people like Nate Garcia.
Yeah.
Are putting out their own stuff. I think about some other people you love, especially.
Well, yeah, John Pettinger, and even like Simon Hanselman, who's putting out books on Fantagraphics and like larger publishers, is also still doing it on his own.
And that's part of it, right? Because you even have like, I think MS Harkness is still putting out her own stuff. She's also doing stuff with like Fantagraphics, but, and you know, Caroline Cat. I mean, they're still all making like mini comics and putting out their own stuff. And that's part of it too, you know. Those books, all of your mini comics, those are indie comics.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that's what it is. Well, that's a moving target. So if an indie person got big and then had their work reprinted over Dark Horse or Image, is no longer indie. Yet, well, that work isn't now.
The work, and again, that's where I go back to like the only, and I've said this a couple times, that it's like I teeter on the line of like, I don't know if comics are independent anymore. But creators can be independent.
No, comics still are, because I think about like Flippy that Cycle mentioned.
Well,
he
I know,
put out Flippy himself.
Well, yeah, and then but
absolutely.
Then if Flippy gets gets picked up and reprinted into,
and then it's not. I agree with Cycle. It's not a moving target. If Nate Garcia started being published by Image Comics, those comics wouldn't be indie comics. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Terry Moore fought the system and won. He's a true independent creator, and everything he does sells a ton. His stuff is amazing, by the way. I mean, he used to be an independent creator, probably.
He still is. Terry Moore.
Oh, Terry Moore. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was thinking Tony Moore.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, and he's putting out his own stuff. He made it work. Yeah, and that's cool. And he is an exception to. I mean, he's done stuff for Marvel, and obviously those books don't count. But like, yeah, I love Monogirl. Yeah, I gave it to you. I made you read that. It was great. Simon self-publishes all his single issues, and they are collected later by Fantagraphics. But even Fantagraphics is a handful of people and run out of a house.
True.
Yeah. And that matters too. Absolutely. Oh, Mary. Hi, Mary. I'm here because I love the host with all my heart. These topics hurt my brain and spike my anxiety.
Oh, I knew it. I was almost said it. I was like, Mary. If I haven't seen Mary in the chat, and so I know, thank goodness she's not hearing this discussion, but I guess we're wrong.
Thanks, Mary.
I'm sorry, Mary. Sorry.
Technically, Flippy was published by Domino Books, which Austin English runs out of his apartment by himself. Yeah, so I think, and that's clearly an independent publisher, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking, did I buy Flippy for you?
I don't think you bought.
I think I bought it from his web store.
You bought stuff from...
So I just kind of assumed it was from him.
Yeah.
But you're correct about Nate in general. I'm just no, I get that. Thank you, Cycle, for mentioning that. But obviously Domino Books would absolutely be an independent publisher. Oh my gosh, Dad. Smells a little like gatekeeping. No,
again, and none of this is saying that it's not good or bad. It's just not that.
If the work was indie self-published, it's the same work if reprinted by Marvel. No, because then that book is no longer an independent work. It's owned by Marvel. What do you mean? What?
Yeah.
That's not gatekeeping at all. Like, we want everyone to read comics. There's just words that mean things. Thank you, Cycle. Says it's not gatekeeping at all. It's like, what if a majority of people started telling you comedy books were horror books for no apparent reason? There are words that mean things. Yeah, absolutely. Would you be gatekeeping horror if you were driven a little nuts by that? Hey, how's everybody doing? Hello, Watery Wizard. What's up?
Hi, Watery Wizard.
Seems like you should join the panel live. Dad, I'll send you a link. Let's go. You want to go? I'll send you a link.
We'll have to put headphones on.
Yeah, I love headphones. Oh, there's more. Hold on. I think what Larry's saying is that the creator still owns the rights. That's not true, but not 100% since it's using the publisher. Yeah, they wouldn't.
Yeah, and Marvel is work for hire. So that's the difference there. Marvel doesn't find something and then go, oh, I'm going to publish this.
Right. I don't know how all this started, but so many people have muddied the waters for so long. It's weird. I think that's the thing, right? Like, to the point where some people are like, Calvin and Hobbes, my favorite indie book. Listen, how did that happen? How did it happen? If the creator owns the rights, that makes it a creator-owned comic. Right. That's the words that mean things.
Creator-owned and independent are not the same thing.
They're not the same thing.
That's also the thing.
Yeah.
As we get deeper into these publications for early readers and categories, I can guarantee you I had no thoughts or anything. So they're just right there. And because it's, again, I didn't know if you had read any of these things.
I have.
I figured you had. So.
Best publication for early readers. I've actually only read one. I read Milk and Mocha, Our Little Happiness, which is by Andrews McMeel. They publish a lot of great stuff. It's an imprint of one of the big ones, I'm sure. I loved it so much. It was just lovely. It was Our Little Happiness. I read it on Hoopla. I totally recommend it. So that was cool to see. I don't know any of these other ones, but I'm sure people, one day we're going to know all these early reader books. That's what's going to happen.
Sure.
Best publication for kids. So yeah, I read Mexikid was good. Missing You I haven't read, but I really want to read. The cover looks really cute. And I haven't read the other first second book. So, but kids books are killing it. Best publication for teens.
So I had one question on this, and this was purely just because. And I tried to do more research. It's very rare that a manga gets nominated for an Eisner that is not in the best translated work or best international work, reprinted for America in the US or something like that. It's very rare. I noticed this year there was a lot of that, and I'm not against that by any means. I just think it's interesting that that's happening more.
I agree. Yeah.
Because
we have the Seven Seas book on here.
Well, and we've the world has talked about it, that it's like manga. If we were to lump manga sales in with comic book sales, manga sales would be the top 10 every year because One Piece is always outselling, whatever.
100%.
Whatever any book is, whatever any comic out there is. So yeah. It's interesting. I've just had not seen that.
Pretty much anything I haven't read on this, I want to read, although I don't know what My Girlfriend's Child is. But I love Lights, of course. That would be what I pick for this category. Love that whole series. Brennan Thumler's incredible. I read Danger and Other Unknown Risks, and I didn't love it. So I wouldn't vote for that. Best humor publication.
Yeah, I think I had thoughts on this one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, you did?
Yeah, because I was like, that first one could be fine, but I feel like it seems like Candlewick and Walker Books mostly publishes early reader kid books, it looked like. So I thought that was interesting. I think it's super cool that I Was a Teenage Michael Jackson Impersonator and Other Musical Meanderings was nominated, because that's the first time I've seen a full-blown self-published book.
Cool.
Get nominated for this. Now, this guy...
Oh, Keith Knight Press. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Keith Knight has done a lot of stuff. He's been published for a lot of stuff. He's a big-time illustrator, done a bunch of stuff. But you want to buy that book, you go to his web store, and you get it. And it looks good. It legitimately looks good. I just think that's neat.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I will say, I'm confused about It's Jeff, the Jeffverse #1 by Kelly Thompson being in here. Here's the thing. I agree that It's Jeff would be a humor publication because I've read a lot of that and I think it's really cute and it's funny. However, why is one issue of it?
Yeah.
Not in the one-shot category. It is interesting how they kind of muddy that, right?
Yeah, I just want to highlight that I call her Kel Tom Tom, which I think is real funny.
I do love it, but I don't know that I could necessarily vote for it. But cool commentary.
Thanks.
I haven't read the rest. Should we go back to the chat where
we can take
we're
a
going
look
back
and
and forth?
see
Like,
how many more people are
it's my
yelling at
dad's
us.
cycle. They're going back and forth. Let's see. Okay, I suspect a large part of the issue is that indie is such a succinct term that makes for better usage in a headline than creator-owned. I have no opinion on the early readers' teen categories. There are vastly different deals when made. Some retain all their rights. George Romero did stuff for Marvel for a few years before his death, and I guaranteed he retained the floor. Did you see his contract? What do you mean you guarantee? I'm just... That confuses me. That sentence confuses me. Retaining the rights makes a creator own because the creator owns the rights. Yes. You can make a deal. Even with DC theoretically, as creator own.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they would do that, but yeah. Indie are two distinct different things. DC book can never be an indie book. Even the DC book that was made out of indie creators, totally.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's saying we still agree. I have a section of shelves I call indie/creator owned that covers both types. But then there are other things that are not independent or creator owned that you have there. Thus the confusion.
Where we're getting at, Larry, is you need another shelf.
You gotta put it on the shelf. You have plenty. Problem is people using terms interchangeably and have been leaning more towards using anything for anything about big two. That's exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Better for clicks. Well, it's also just like, that's what they do, yeah. Better for making a title or headline. Buffy.
Gee, I'm knock over this mic. Sorry, everybody.
Creator owned is just more cumbersome. Yeah, it looks good. It's also heavily inspired by things like Pogo and Calvin Hobbes. I feel like I just reading it. Buffy, I'm sorry, I can't talk and look at her and deal with her. Okay, good. She said no. We're fine.
We have that.
Oh, yeah, we do. Do we?
I think so. I think we got it at Half Price Books.
I think you're right. Not that we've read it.
Mm-mm.
Do you have thoughts here? Yeah.
Truly just
thought.
didn't... Is that an anthology?
It is, because it's made out of, like, different issues, I think. Because somebody was talking about it earlier that I saw. They're, like, different issues by different creators.
Okay. I was just confused when I tried to look up more about it. I was like, all right, there's 4 writers in this, but is it an anthology? I want to know what the parameters are for that. And that's just me being curious at this point. And the rest of it all makes sense except for, I guess, only one of the comics that was voted like best short story was on here, which I thought was weird.
Oh yeah,
only comics for Ukraine had a lot
there's
of
probably
ones.
A story in that they were nominating.
No, there was a story in that, but like I'm saying, like the anthology that had, or the best short story category that was first. There's not the My Little Pony anthology is not voted for.
My dad's trying to explain to you what an anthology is, in case you didn't know.
Okay. So it has to be different characters in stores. Okay.
The Outside is something I've been wanting to read, but I have not. And I haven't read any of these, so I got nothing. What do I have in that section that is not indie or creator owned? Plenty. Do you want to send me a photo?
No, we don't need to do this.
I mean, I can't think off the top of my head.
Larry, save it for Saturday. Tomorrow.
Please don't save it for Saturday.
Save it for tomorrow.
No.
You got a show tomorrow.
Yeah, but you're not in it.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to be in
You'd be able to, like, help me more than that. But you know, that people may be thinking I was referring to still makes me laugh, though, with the strongest reaction to the lightest trolling I've ever done. I feel like I know what you're talking about, right? Cycle. Best anthology, the lowest quality pictures by leaps and bounds. Might as well not even nominate anything else. You got to read that, right?
I know.
I'd like to, too. 9:30 a.m. I'm hoping to make it. I'll be there. Best reality-based work.
I think I maybe had. Nope, I didn't have
You got
thoughts.
nothing.
This is where I got to the end because I was like, and I did some research with these because this is always the category that I pay the most attention to because this category and the memoir category, if I were to ever get an Eisner nomination, this is where it would likely be.
This is what you're doing to me. I don't want to. Let's not, Dad. Let's not. It's gonna be too early.
You're trying to do it now.
Yeah, because you're here.
Oh.
I don't have somebody to back me up when I'm in the morning with him.
Oh, I'll back you up. Just like I'll
You're
call
not gonna
in.
be here.
I'll
You're
just be
not
like,
gonna
yeah,
be
that's true. Anyway, I would want to read all of these. And I mean, obviously, I'm super partial to the Bill Griffith story because I think that's I've seen portions of it and things like that. It looks really, really good. Also, Bill Griffith is great. So yeah.
Chris really liked Last on His Feet.
I don't know anything about it, but every time I see it, I'm like, wait, they're going to talk about that Jack Johnson music guy?
Yeah, that's what I thought of immediately, too. Cycle, of course. Those 30 Rocks, of course. Yeah, I mentioned Calvin Hobbes, so I thought that we were on the same level there. I'm with Larry. I want to know what the books are. If it's in the wrong section, it should be moved. Well, I think we've been there and told you that, though. I'm going to watch the shelf reorganizing video after this. That's funny. Dad, just send us a photo right now. I'll bring it up. How about that? Best graphic memoir. Did you have thoughts?
No.
Okay. I've read In Limbo. I loved In Limbo. So that is where I would go with this. There's a lot of these other ones I've seen that I haven't read, but they all look good. So, and these publishers are putting out good memoirs, I have to say. Best graphic album. Someone please tell me, what is a graphic album?
Someone's going to be able to tell me in the chat, I'm sure.
Well, I was like, it's the presentation of the book itself, right?
But there's a whole separate category for best publishing presentation. And I couldn't figure it out because this is also the only one that there's like a second category that's best graphic album reprint. And I always took that as like,
okay, Cycle's saying it's an OGN.
See, that's what I thought.
That makes sense because all of these are, right? Yeah, they all are.
That's what I thought. And that's how I kind of understood it. But then if you look at best graphic album reprint in the next category, there's stuff that I'm like, that's not an OGN.
Yeah, that's weird. Family Style is fantastic. Yeah, so I haven't read it. That was the last. Yeah, I believe. I think Mary maybe also read that, or someone I know. Sorry, Mary, if it wasn't you. Again, my brain. But I'm glad you liked it, Marissa. That's one I want to read for sure. Chris is like, I don't have a clue what this category is. Fair. Monica Clouds aren't nominated for anything.
I was really surprised at that too.
Oh, what is OGN me, please? Original graphic novels. So these are all like one and done. And they didn't come out as single issues. Repeat doesn't need to be an OGN. It's best collected edition of comics material that has been previously published, which makes sense because that's a reprint.
Okay.
Thanks, Cycle.
Then why isn't there just a category? Why isn't the category just best reprint? Best comic reprint, best collected edition reprint. I'm just
because everyone else gets it, I guess.
Okay, and that if that's the
Cycle gets it, I don't
that's
know.
the answer, then that's fine. I just wanted to know specifically, and when we get to the next one, I'll be like, there's this one on here is like that wasn't an OGN, so but that makes more sense. So best new graphic album is OGN. The next one is reprint of previous material. So
A Guest in the House by Emily Carroll, I've taken from the library. I don't know how many times, and I have not read it. I hear anyone who has been just thoroughly confused by it. So I'm kind of curious. I have not read Roaming yet, but I love the Tamakis. And that's all I know. I haven't read it yet. But I did read Parasocial. And I did not like Parasocial. So I wouldn't vote for them.
So yeah, I guess that's where I was like, because Doctor Strange is not a OGN, but now that we know that this is just different, then it makes sense now.
Psychos was saying it's because the Eisner sting.
There we go.
They gave him voting rights. That's how ridiculous. That's funny. I wrote 4 of the 5 on here and didn't like one and couldn't finish another. Chris, I need some specifics, please. I'm curious. Thank
Yeah,
you
let's
so
hear
much.
it, Chris.
We need to hear it. It's like 11 picks, so you probably want to do that now. Did you send it already? Let me see. I don't see anything. 11 picks.
How would you know you have 467 unread emails?
Leave me alone.
I'm outing her on this.
I don't care. That's actually way less than I usually have. So
I hate it so much.
Proud of that. It's usually in thousands.
I have 9 unread emails right now, and it is killing me.
That's intense. 11 picks. Also, I'm not asking for your whole collection, Dad. Just like your independent creator-owned section. Give me that one. Are there words in graphic album? Yes.
Yes.
They're just calling it something weird.
And I know, like, in Europe, like, anything that's, like, reprinted, like a collected edition, like a trade, they would refer to as an album. Like, that's how they used, like, when they would reprint, like, the 2000 AD stuff, they would be printed in an album, so.
I really am curious if the Eisners approve later to vote. Okay, haven't said it yet. I didn't like A Guest in the House and couldn't get through Eden 2. Interesting. So you liked Parasocial? That's fine, Chris. I didn't like Guest in the House. That's what I keep hearing. I like her art, but I don't know. Okay. Back to this.
So
I've read Orange, which I really like, and it's interesting because that's another manga on here. And it's a box set, so I guess
again, yeah,
it was printed in a different format than it originally came out in. And I know my dad loves Wonder Woman Historia. I'll never read it. So there's that. Oh, Parasocial is the one I haven't read. Okay, Chris. I hated it. I really upgraded there. Before I was like, I didn't like it. Now I'm like, I hated it. There are 2 that could go either way as their creator-owned, except when the owner allowed others to write some minis, Black Hammer and Walking Dead. You gonna touch on that?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna DM you my application. Please. I'm so curious.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about this?
No.
Okay.
It's not worth it.
I know. Best adaptation from another medium.
Yeah, in this one, it's like.
Well, I have to say, I checked out Beowulf from the library because I liked the cover. I didn't open it until I got home when it was just a prose book with illustrations. And I was like, and it was like in the graphic novel section. I was like, this doesn't make sense. That's not the same.
Calling it Beowulf makes way more sense. I thought this whole time I was like Beowulf.
I mean, I guess it could be, but
I feel like
wouldn't
Bay be B-A-E? Isn't that how you spell Bay? Like when, hey girl, you my bae?
I don't think that's right, actually.
Oh. I don't like that the Dracula one it literally starts with a hashtag. Just don't like it.
You don't like it. Chris enjoyed Beowulf. Yeah, it looked cute, but I wasn't in the mood to like read prose with illustrations, so I was annoyed by it. But that's fair. Yeah, I got nothing else to say about that. Best U.S. edition of international material.
Yeah, there's a whole lot as we get into these ones that I had. Like, I knew even less. Spa looked like a really cool book, but didn't you read it? No, it just looked cool. You got it from the library.
I don't know what that is. So.
Spa? Yeah, it's red.
Graphics. No, I never got that.
You got it from the library.
I did not.
You absolutely did.
Okay, we don't have to keep going.
No, everyone.
You're wrong.
She got that from the library.
Really. Let's see if I know any of these. Let's see. I've heard of some of these, like the end press ones and stuff, but I've read The Horizon, which yikes.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
Yikes. It was just It's brutal.
It's
and
heavy.
It was pretty messed up, actually.
Okay, so as we get into these, I have like some statistics and things on the next slide. So I want to bring that. Just want to make sure you guys are aware of that.
About this?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have like fun facts.
You don't want to talk about it.
No, well, we can just talk about it. So it's like, because a lot of these, it's like I saw, like we knew Mark Waid was going to get nominated because why wouldn't he? Because he's Mark Waid. He puts out a book, any book a year, he gets nominated, I feel like.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
I don't know. I'm trying to understand it.
Something. Oh. Is that a something wolf and then another something wolf and then a bee wolf?
Yeah, I don't know.
Mary,
we're confused. Oh, is it wrong? And where's the sample nomination?
I'm going to tell you. I did submit sample for an Ignatz. And if I get an Ignatz nomination on that book, I will be the happiest boy in the world. Here's the thing. I won't.
But it would be funny.
It would be really funny.
Beowulf, Bay Arthur. Oh.
Oh.
B. Arthur.
Oh, B. Arthur.
Wolf Beowulf.
Now I get it.
Nice.
But yeah, I was like, okay, like look at these people. It's the same stuff. And again, everyone here did something for DC except for 2. So yeah, but you know, the fun fact on the next one I think is interesting, unless you want to talk about these.
I mean, I know all the names. I haven't read Roman yet though, so I don't know. I don't even know that's a Tamaki book I like yet. I don't know.
So I thought this was very fascinating. So 1988 is when the Eisners started. Every winner ever has been associated with Marvel or DC or an Image book, except for 2 years ever. And these are just like, this is the year that they did it because these people have created books for Marvel, DC, and Image, etc. But that's crazy. So in 35 years, only 2 people in the year they were nominated did not do a big 3 book.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then even more than that, in 35 years, only 15 people have won this award.
Different people, yeah.
So it's
a lot of repeats.
It's all Alan Moore, which again, and I'm not even saying like if that is the best book, if that's the best stuff, great. I'm not saying people don't deserve to get multiple awards, but I'm also like, there's so much out there. I feel like there's more than just Mark Waid and Kelly Thompson and Tom Taylor. Like there's more books out there than that. And I just think that's what I noticed a lot in these ones. It's the same names over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, best writer artist. Okay. Emily Carroll. I guess in the house. I feel like a lot of people would disagree with that. Although best artist.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Griffith, Daniel Ward Johnson. Another Yen Press person, which is cool.
This is like the first one. Like this may be the only category that I was kind of like, I agree with most of these nominations. I mean, there's 2 of them that I don't know their work. So I can't say I don't know Emily Carroll and I don't know the manga. But I'm like, these people are good writer artists. I will stand by this.
But we're specifically talking about these books. So I loved Clementine Book 2, Tilly Walden. I've not read Zoe Thorogood's Hackslash.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll enjoy it. It would be the only Hackslash book I'd ever read.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that that's what she gets nominated for, right?
Well, she didn't.
I know she got nominated before.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't have a lot else get.
I know, but it's
out
just
this
like.
year. But yeah, no.
When you think about who's nominated, it's like, oh,
what
a weird. I mean, even Transformers, right? It's like. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I get what you mean.
Actually not a big fan of Zoe's Hackslash compared to her other. I'm sure I won't be either. I mean, nothing's going to compare to her other work, right? But
yeah,
as far as like a property like that,
I just knew like when I was talking with her about it, she was specifically like, "I'm making the Hackslash book that I don't think anybody cares about, or that I'm making the Hackslash book that I don't think anybody ever wanted." And that was the first time that I was like, I maybe want to read this Hackslash book.
It's like I don't care about that property at all. Like
so that could have been it. But also, I mean, she's a pal, so I want to support her.
Yeah, the only book she did this year. I'm just saying, like, it's interesting that, like, are these people like, hey, we read that and loved it, and so that's why we're gonna nominate it? Or are they just like, oh, she's good at things.
She's good. We gotta keep. She's good. She's got some buzz. We need to nominate something for her.
It's just curious how this comes down to, because again, and I love Tilly Walden, I love Clementine, but it's interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And even like Emily Carroll, I think her art's awesome, but I hear so many people who are just like, what is this book? Like, I don't know. I'm in a bubble though, so I get it. And Chris Wood Romaine, it was pretty good. I definitely want to check it out. I'm voting for Bill Griffith with no hesitation over Zoe. Yeah, those are very different books.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Moore deserves every nomination, no doubt. If anything, Alan Moore got shafted multiple years. Does anyone think this is a My Little Pony comment? I don't. I restrained myself multiple times for commenting on art she shared on IG for that book. That's funny. Especially the blurring effect she was using. I really don't think it's working. Bill Griffith's cartoon is just top notch.
Well, yeah. I mean that. Well, and that's also like you literally put Bill Griffith, who is a legend.
I was gonna say you got like a legend among modern people, right?
Yeah. And again, like it's similar to when we get to the lettering category, it's kind of like that. When anytime Stan Sakai is nominated, it's kind of like there's no point in anyone else.
Well, and then I look here too, and I'm like, there's 2 Image Skybound books.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Just saying.
This one I just think is interesting because it's like we still call it like penciler and inker team. Not one of these people is a penciler inker team. So I mean, just thought that was interesting. Like because that just
it's penciler inker or penciler inker.
Yeah, I know, but just like the world of people,
like it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen as often anymore.
Yeah, and I know these names too, but I'm like, I don't know. Do we care about any of this?
See, no. I mean, this is like...
What does this even mean? Does this mean like they use different...
So they changed this rule because it used to be best multimedia artist in general, and then they were not as included in the cover artist category sometimes. And then they switched it all around, and there were other times where they did other... It's weird. But yeah, this is basically, so like if you don't use pencil and ink exclusively, so like Tyler Crook would be in this category, or sure. Justin Nguyen was in this category when he won in the years past. Which I like that it's getting showcased, but I do think it's interesting that it's like, we're gonna put these people in these people need to be in a different category, which I think is just interesting.
Seko says yes. The lettering.
When we get to the lettering, they
should make digital lettering a separate category. It's just the only way that makes any sense to me if you want to include that. I agree. It's very different.
Some of the things that like you see, it's crazy. Yeah, we'll see it.
Oh, it's so tiny. Right?
That's so tiny because they put all of these freaking titles, and I was just like, these are the same people over and over and over.
Of course, because of course we got Jen Bartel
nominated every year.
I don't know. This Evan guy, DC though. Ginny Frisson, of course.
Nominated every year. I don't know EM Gist.
No, but obviously a lot of big titles. Peach Momoko, I would assume, is always nominated, and Dan Mora, I would also guess, is always nominated.
It's like, this is just more of the same where it's like...
I'm just bored.
Yeah.
Look, I like Jen Bartel, I like Ginny Frisson, and I like Peach Momoko and Dan Mora. But I'm bored also.
And to speak to like something that Cycle has mentioned Alex Graham before, Alex Graham's covers for Devil's Grin are incredible.
They're wild. Yeah.
How is that not nominated? And then it makes me think that that's not nominated because it's not even on the people's radar, which is, again, that's part of the problem. Like if they don't know that these books exist, it's part of the problem.
These category titles / definitions are as much or more of a mess than the nominations. I agree. They're confusing. My IG story about this category really described my thoughts with 100% accuracy. Are those still up? I missed them. Cycle. I'll check them out.
Yeah.
You want to read it?
Yeah, only 17 different people have won this award, but it's been going for 31 years.
That's wild.
That's insane. And again, like I'm not saying, like, I understand that what Alex Ross does is really impressive. Me personally, I don't really care, but I get that it's impressive and it's very like well executed and well established. He doesn't need 7 Eisners years in a row. I mean, because there's just other people out there. It's what's the purpose? It's just hard to get behind.
And it's like I'm saying, Alex Graham's paintings are phenomenal and his real physical painting.
Exactly.
And who does that anymore, right?
Like when I saw Alex Graham post about the art show that they did, when I saw the paintings like on the wall, I was like, wait, you gotta be kidding me.
You can talk while
I didn't know. I didn't know what you were doing. Your dad sent the photos?
Yes.
Oh.
I'll send you this right. Thanks, Cycle. It's just the song that says it all. I can't wait. Okay, 11 picks email. That's too many picks. All should be indie or creator owned. I think Black Hammer Walking Dead may need to be moved, although only one of the Walking Dead hardcovers are not written by Kirkman. Okay, so that's a lot of picks. Let's go to the next one. That's coloring.
And again, I get it. Like, I know coloring is really important and stuff, but I didn't have an opinion. And that's also because, like, I don't know a lot of colorists.
I feel like Jordy Blair is, like, always in this category.
Yeah.
And I've liked some coloring of theirs, but wow, Dad, there's too many picks. But I'm downloading them.
So here we go. This category is insane. And lettering has always been an insane category because it's been a category since the beginning. So it's been like maybe 30 years, 31 years, maybe not since the very beginning. But lettering is a lost art in comics. As a person who has done hand lettering and it's miserable, I hate doing it. But I also like appreciate it nothing more. Kristen will point out any of the books that I try to make her read and things often end up being books that have crazy good hand lettering. There's also too much of it. Like anything Evan Dorkin did, so much lettering, but it's all done by hand. So it's just so impressive. Same with Joan Vasquez, a lot of stuff like that. These nominations are just weird. I'm amazed that there is not a nomination for Klaus for Monica, because Klaus does all his own hand lettering, and his lettering is always phenomenal. And also, like, Bill Griffith needs this award. And I mean, I don't know. I didn't read the Emily Carroll book, so I wonder if she hand lettered it. But usually, if you lettered only one book through the year, you probably hand lettered it. It's like at that point, like if it's digital lettering, then it's like, well, you should be giving the lettering award to Blambot or whatever that comics lettering website is.
If you even know anything about lettering, it's just so clear that hand lettering versus digital are worlds apart. Absolutely. And I didn't read that Emily Carroll book. I flipped through it, and I could see that being the case, that she hand lettered it, but I can't be for certain on that. I would be curious, like, what if there's anyone other than Bill Griffith
that hand lettered. Yeah, the fun fact on this one is even crazier than some of the other ones. 7 people have ever won this award.
It's crazy.
I don't know if that is a test, and that could very well be a testament to people who hand letter it automatically get it. Like, I mean, I'm not even going to sit there and say that Stan Sakai doesn't deserve every hand lettering Eisner he's ever won, because he does. Same with Klaus. Same with a couple of the others. It's like, but still, like, that's crazy that we're still doing this award for people to get for pointing out for putting together fonts. And I know that that takes some talent, but it's also like it's way easier for a reason. It's just I just couldn't believe that when I was like only 7 people.
That's wild. My dad loves that guy, apparently. There's some school letters that made their own digital font library by hand. Sure.
And I've done that. I've done that before, and it ends up being okay. That's the only way that I feel comfortable doing. Although sometimes it just depends on the story. Like for Hardcore Anxiety, I did my own font, and then it ended up being really muddy and confusing, and we had to switch last minute. And so then I just stuck with that same font for years. And the same with, I was going to do one again for summer vacation, and I started hand lettering it digitally, if that makes sense. So like handwriting everything on a tablet, just because I'm terrible at spelling, and I need to be able to digitally fix those things. But it didn't work out.
So great. 7 people. Dave Sim could have won every year, and it'd just be like, yeah, that's fair.
Well, sure, and that's how I feel about Stan Sakai's lettering too. Like truthfully, like I get it. I get it when it is that, and when that's the competition. If it's people like Dave Sim, Bill Griffith, Stan Sakai, Dan Klaus up in the category together, like that's a nail biter. I'm loving this. I'm loving that category. Like, who is going to get it for that? Because all 4 of those guys are great. But then when you have people who are like just doing fonts because they are lettering 12 books out of the year, or 12 books a month or something like that. It's just, that's a lot.
VS went through the trouble to make different versions of letters too. I can't remember if he only uses it for translations though, which might be the case.
Yeah, I didn't know for sure. I know for I've heard him talk, but he's also such a craftsman to the stuff. You know, like when he does coloring, he'll literally do coloring on like a separate page of like tracing paper and then scan it in and make like basically do like Photoshop layers, but in real life. And that's cool, but he's brilliant at what he does. He knows what he's doing. I could see that. I would agree with that. I really do love I think Jonan Vasquez, his lettering on like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Squee is like a huge personal favorite, and it does perfectly fit the characters, and I think that's great. I think Evan Dorkin's lettering is unbelievable too.
Anything about this?
No, because I was just also, I just think it's hilarious that sketched or whatever it is. I think that's still a thing. I used to listen to that dude's podcast a lot. And I used to always think he's kind of weird, but.
We're popping in here.
Okay.
With a photo from Larry's library. His library. You have some thoughts, right? Yeah, they're still kind of hard to see, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. I suppose these are all creator owned. So, yeah.
I don't know some of the books. So.
I don't know if The Rocketeer is considered creator owned, because that is a property. But that story could be. But, yeah.
I guess maybe we should like filter through the 11 images you sent. That's too many. We're too big now.
Oh no. Yeah, it's like at this point, Comics Journal is the only real one that I know of.
Sure.
I didn't know any of the. These are all books that I'm interested in that I would like to read.
Yeah, I haven't read any either.
But yeah. And then same here. I thought these all sounded fascinating, but they're all just done by the, university presses and things like that.
Cool.
So yeah, this was the one. I left this one in there. I didn't really know if I had. Oh, I believe you with that cycle.
You're supposed to read it in the response.
Sorry. The Rocketeer may have become an IP later, though. Yeah, I hear you. That's probably correct. True. Yes. Yes. Yeah. People
You're really
people.
bad at
I
this.
know. I'm bad at it. I'm sorry. This is why you have to read it. Yeah, but people like Dork and
I
owe a
can't do
debt
this stuff
to Sim
and
for
read it.
sure. Absolutely, they do.
I vote for Austin English as the Comics Journal, but I nominate and vote for Bubbles magazine over everything.
See,
Where's the Bubbles nom?
Yeah, that's the. I mean, and I guess maybe because they don't, because it's a fanzine, maybe they don't consider it a publication.
But why?
Like,
Their categories are dumb anyway.
Exactly, they're real dumb. And I kept the publication design thing, because again, when we were talking about the graphic album, I was like, I don't know. But then I just also love that freaking Z2 got a nomination on here, and I figured you'd be mad about it.
Z2.
And Magnetic Press.
Yeah, I'm still mad at both of them.
All these publishers.
So, yeah. Hello, Marcelo.
Hi, Marcelo.
So you gotta look into the Rocketeer. This season I own the Rocketeer. Don't know what happened after his passing.
Yeah, no, I knew, and so I knew there was questioning on that. I honestly, being the person that I was, I always, when I think of the Rocketeer, I only think of the movie initially. That's just where my first thought. The movie, and then the Foxy Shazam song.
Okay.
Rocketeer.
That's too loud.
She's mad about that.
That's too loud. Well, you have no final slide here.
No, I was going to, and then you know what? I got really tired.
Wow.
So you can go back.
Also
and,
too
you
low.
can go back and make us big, and we'll be up there, and everyone can be.
Or we can just not.
Or we can not. We can just leave up that. Let's look through here.
All right, I'll take it off. But I'm trying to like look through these photos.
I know you are.
That's why you have to talk.
Well, I was reading.
Do you have Don't read. Do you have final thoughts on anything?
Cycle said it best. The Eisners this year are a mess. They're a joke. It's a mess. It's just bad. It's just weird and doesn't make sense. All of the reading that I did on like the history of the Eisners it's just odd. I don't know. I just don't. I have questions about just what the process is here and who's responsible for getting these things. Like with the Ignats, it makes more sense. And again, like, yeah, it can be Rignats, whatever. But you submit works for that. So literally, if something, like if Sample didn't get nominated for something, I couldn't be mad about it if I didn't send it in. Because, of course, who's going to also, like, it's a 25 print run. But like stuff like that, that's the things where you're like, I don't know if I like that matters. But with Eisner's, it's like who's seeking out these things? Do publishers submit them? Does anyone submit anything? Is it just they're just responsible to know? I don't know. Just interesting. I wish I knew more.
Do you listen to the Broadways?
No, I'm sorry.
As in, you don't know them?
No, he sent me the song.
Oh.
We talked about it last time.
Did you listen? Sorry.
Yeah, I meant to. I've been working on a poster design for a poster that literally I was told I have to fit 45 bands on this poster. So with that, I had to redraw the entire design after I should have known. Kristen told me.
I did. I was like, they're
known.
gonna make you put all those bands on.
I was like, but every other poster they had done for a fest had like 20 people, but they were individual day posters, so that's where anyway. I try to listen to the bands I'm creating the poster for, so I've been listening to nothing but that stuff. But I will. They did come up on like a recommended listen for something, so
he says it's so good. And yikes.
Yeah, it's not fun. I prefer band posters with one. Yeah. Just like we prefer shows with one band.
Yeah, 40's too many bands. That's why we don't do festivals. Forget that.
Absolutely.
Nobody's trying to like sweat and watch all these bands. Although this one in like no, it's in the summer.
It's in the summer.
Yeah, yikes.
I don't think people do festivals not in the summer anymore.
There's some fall festivals now. like band festivals.
So they're probably in like summer places. Yeah, like
I don't know.
because like the fest is in Florida in the fall. It's like around Halloween.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. What are your final thoughts, Kristen?
I don't know. I'm just annoyed by everything.
Yeah.
The fact that there are multiple categories where only a few people have won, like a handful of people over the last 30 plus years, is wild. Like that alone should tell you something's wrong with this.
Well, and that's like, and again, like that does not discount any of these people as far as like the fact that Mark Waid is one of 17 people to win the Eisner for Best Writer so many times or whatever. That's not a knock on how good his work is. It's just like there's other people who are just as good. There's other people out there who are good. And I just feel like stuff's getting missed. And that's, we have to start asking the bigger questions. Like, why is this stuff getting mixed? Why are certain books not getting acknowledged? And that's it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to, right? Like when and with the argument of what people call indie titles as well, it's just like I think they're not even. I think it's not. This is not a hot take. This is just a take. This is just like factual take. There are a lot of smaller creators out there, small creators that people overlook or don't ever find. Because if they're looking through this, I mean, we're even seeing stuff where like, oh, that does sound interesting, maybe, whatever. Mm-hmm. But if this is all you're looking at, you're not going to find those still, you know? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people only have eyes for these kind of things. So it's just a bummer. That's all. It's just a bummer. I wish more people and smaller creators could get recognized with these kind of things. But I will say, it's not hard to find if you seek it out. But so many people don't even know it exists. For instance, those who are like, Image is putting out the most unique stuff ever. That's not really true. Mm-hmm. They're putting out different things than the big two, but they're the big three now, of course. So,
well, yeah, and that's also just to say, like,
and not to say they're not putting out some good stuff, of course.
Well, and really, the end thing here is read different stuff. I mean, you know, find different things, stuff that you may not that you would not expect to be such a different departure from things. But you'd be amazed at what comics and cartooning can do when done differently and when done different than you expected. And like this is something I've been thinking about a lot, just about cartoons as fully shaped society, the society that we live in, the norm, the zeitgeist, everything, like the cultural world. Like cartoons has changed that. Comics has changed that. Literally, America was founded by a cartoonist in ways. Benjamin Franklin is considered a political cartoonist. Like, cartoons change the world and affect our world to a point. And it's just like, it's more than just Marvel and DC or DC Comics or the same 7 letterers for the past 30 years. So just things like that. I don't know. What are you looking at?
I'm looking up the shout out, her small creator shout out, Feeding Ghosts by Tessa Hulse. My favorite of the year so far.
It looks cool.
Yeah, this cover looks cool.
That cover looks real cool.
Yeah, it does look like it was put out by a Macmillan imprint, but it does look cool. It's wild that the Oscars this year was a better field of nominations than the Eisners. But also the Oscars nominated Top Gun last year, so they didn't really stink as much as anything.
Well, and I think it does kind of go to show that, I mean, award ceremonies are, yeah, whatever. I say that, and then the second I get nominated for anything, please know that I will be like, these are the greatest institutions in the world.
That's what they all do, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't need no award. Would I want one? Absolutely. Do I want an Ignatz? Do I want a framed brick to set on my wall? Absolutely. That's what you get. You get a brick.
That's fun. Reid, don't listen to the Broadways in general. Listen to that one track specifically first, at least, whatever you do.
Okay, you got it.
Cycle, do you know The Living End? I don't know why that popped into my head. I don't know. Just talk about music. Images certainly become greater than no one. Okay. Has ever. Wow. Father has ever expected, considering their 90s superhero origins.
No, true, and the image revolution is a real thing, and I think creators and comics as a whole owe a debt to Image Comics as far as what they did for the world. But yeah, it is. They're also leaps and bounds different than what they started out to be.
Even saying the big three is essentially an arbitrary cutoff. You could say the big five or whatever too.
True.
Absolutely. I think in my head, I'm just like, as far as volume, right? Like what they're putting out volume wise.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, Image also puts out a ton.
Right.
Like a lot.
Yeah, you hurt me with that one, Dad. It was hard. Cartoons of the redheaded stepchild. Reid, what's he saying? Of art for sure.
Okay. Well, because they've always been that. Like people think that if I were to say, like when I tell people,
I just meant I thought you may be offended by.
No, I know the phrase. Somebody literally told me today I didn't have red hair, so I kind of
what?
A little salty about
Who said that?
Somebody who just was like, "You don't have red hair." I was like, "Yeah."
Do you know what red hair looks like?
Yeah, I do. I'm just older and it fades, and then that made me sad.
Oh, you'll be fine.
I want red hair. People don't know it's me on my books anymore.
They know it's you.
But yeah, they're always. Yeah, I don't understand how it's the lesser playing always second fiddle to the art world when it's like cartoons and comic art is an incredible form of expression.
Back to that book they mentioned. It's about 3 generations of women that traverse the world and working through trauma. I'm looking through some of the pages that you can just Google and find, and they look really cool.
Yeah, it does look neat.
I like the art. I'll check that out. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Just because awards generally stink doesn't mean someone getting one that you feel is deserved isn't nice sometimes. Again, even just seeing pee pee poo poo among that, I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no,
that you can say that. That's cool.
That's a huge win. As much as like the Eisners as a whole are kind of a wash this year, but like that's pretty great. Just that happened and that was even noticed. So.
Living In sounds familiar, but I'll have to look it up. They're an Australian band that Reid and I love. It's just cool because like no one ever talks about them in the States, I feel like, and then we were both like we love them when we met.
The first night we met, yeah.
I love that they didn't raise a realm, and you know what's up. Red hair is so much a spectrum. When I was young, some say I had red hair. It wasn't really, but there you go. Then my beard used to actually be red before it turned white.
Yeah, both my parents had red hair, and then it faded, and it turned into different stuff, and I'm always worried that's going to happen. I miss my red hair.
Your hair's nice.
I miss my brighter red hair.
Okay.
I miss
you could dye it if you want.
I'm not going to dye it. There's literally like special non-chemical, like natural shampoo that you can get that's supposed to help it. So I think I'm going to try that.
Yeah, why haven't you done that?
I'm going to try that. So if people think I dyed my hair, it's just getting back to the root. Real.
Wow.
Like my mustache. Danny.
Danny, if you're still around.
He's probably not.
No, he probably left.
It's okay, Danny.
He's like, you guys are fighting too much.
We were fighting a lot. Sorry about that, everybody.
It wasn't real.
It wasn't real.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for the discussion, everybody.
Yeah, maybe we'll do this again. I really don't know.
I feel like we have to follow up when we get winners, right?
I think we should do that, and we probably should do. We should do the Ignats.
Yeah, when does that happen?
They just closed submissions.
Okay.
Or I think they closed today.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's do it. The Living It is great, Danny. You know what's up.
Hey, yeah, Danny knows what's up.
And you're here. What's up?
Hey, Danny.
Well, thanks for joining us. If you have your own thoughts later on, please comment.
Yeah.
We'd love to read them. Take no offense to anything we said. We're all just here to talk about books, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for hanging out with us. And
Every good stream needs a little fighting. So
well, cool. Well, then maybe we'll make this a thing. Maybe we'll do a Friday night.
We're fighting.
We'll do a Friday night fight stream.
This was a fun show. Have a good night. Chris, thanks for being here. Danny, thanks for being here. Cycle, everybody.
Yeah, thank you all for being here.
All of you. At Cycle, you know, especially I'm glad you could join and you had your own thoughts, and I appreciate you sharing for sure.
Yeah, and
you're all great, but I'm just, you know, we were like, if Cycle's not here.
Well, yeah, especially just like we know so little. Like, well, I know so little. You knew a lot more than you thought you were going to, I think. And yeah, but this was fun. This was good. I'm getting sleepy, which is a problem.
Right.
And I'm sorry, everybody.
Let's go sleep.
Everyone like my hat because it's true.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Bye.